Welcome to the latest edition of the Calls Out podcast. Once again today, I'm joined by regular Steve Stredden, but we're also joined by Inner West Council Mayor Darcy Byrne. How are you, Darcy?
Long-time listener, first-time attendee. Great to be with you.
Thanks for coming in, mate. I know it's a little bit out of your way. I want to start. There's news starting to break as we're recording this afternoon that Shane Richardson has resigned his position at the West Tigers. Can I just get your initial thoughts on that?
We've just got to be really, really honest about the situation that we're in now. And that is either the governance of West Tigers will be cleaned up once and for all, or the franchise is going to go out the back door. In a couple of years' time, we'll still be down the bottom of the table and someone will come up with the idea to transfer the licence to Ipswich or somewhere else. If we don't take action now to make sure that there is proper administration of both Holman Barnes Group and the West Tigers, we're going to lose our team.
And I don't think that's an exaggeration at the moment. I truly believe that the decisions being made over the next couple of weeks will be decisions about the life or death of the West Tigers.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, you've got to look at the situation as it really is. And to have in the past week all of the independent directors taken out and now seemingly the CEO, who'd been doing an awesome job and who all of us had confidence in, forced out. This is quite extraordinary circumstances, and that's why we're calling for the board of Holman Barnes to resign. And if they won't go, and they should, out of the interests of the club, then we need intervention. We need intervention from the NRL. Peter V'landys and Abdo are able to intervene to reappoint the independent directors who were taken out, or to appoint directors of their own over West Tigers, and the New South Wales government has all the justification in the world to intervene and impose an administrator on the Holman Barnes Group, because if this doesn't qualify as maladministration and dysfunction, then I don't know what does.
So I'm going to ask you a question a little bit away from the current situation. You've worked very closely with Shane Richardson, closer than anyone else has here. You worked with him on the funding for the redevelopment of Leichhardt Oval. Can you tell us a little bit about his ability and he's fit for that role as CEO of the West Tigers?
He's very, very tough and he's very, very capable. And I think given the situation that he inherited and the long-term failure that we've all had to watch, that's the sort of character that we needed in that role. And in fact, if you just rewind the clock to 10 days ago, we were all feeling good about the fact that the club was finally on an upward trajectory, improved performance on the field, better financial performance, turning a profit for the first time in a long time, stable governance and leadership, great recruitment, and that's all been blown up, seemingly out of self-interest. So I really feel for Shane. I think it's a very unfair way for him to go out, but more than that, I am really, really concerned about what this means for the future of West Tigers.
So, Darcy, you just mentioned self-interest. Let's just get it out there. We've seen independent board members that seemingly were there for the right reasons discarded. We've seen board members previous to that seemed to be there for the right reasons discarded as well. It seems that we've lost our CEO today. We don't know why those board members were discarded, whether it was because of a jersey or because of communication. There just seems to be all these agendas out there. Now, you're into politics. You're a politician. Mm. Do you see politics at play here from the Holman Barnes Group?
Politics of the pettiest kind, the kind where people who are meant to be entrusted with looking out for the overall interest of an organisation are instead acting in a very small-minded way that's solely about their own personal interests. And that's been going on for far too long. And it occurs because the governance of the Holman Barnes Group, formerly West Ashfield Leagues Club, is one of the least democratic and archaic structures that you could possibly imagine. It's the least democratic structure that I know of any registered club in New South Wales. You've got these debenture holders who, the system was set up in 1954 when the original people came along and gave a few $100 to build West Ashfield Leagues Club.
And it was a loan.
It was a loan. But the fact that in 2025 we've still got, 18 or 20 people with unilateral outright control over an organisation that has 27,000 members. So the members of West Ashfield, Holman Barnes Group, they've got just as little say as West Tigers fans do in this situation. And when you have a tiny group of people like that, minuscule group of people like that with total control, then obviously that breeds unaccountability. And that's what's led us to here.
And the reason they get that unfettered control is that group of 20 people controls 5 seats on the Holman Barnes Group board.
Yeah.
They are very insular in how appointments are made to that debenture group. You've got to be approved by the debenture group to become a debenture holder at the Magpies. And the argument is that it's set up to maintain the beliefs and the direction and the core values of West Ashfield or the Holman Barnes Group, when really it doesn't cater for what is a changing demographic in that area.
No, and I'll tell you what really frustrates me, this idea that any group of people, especially one that small, is the owner of West Tigers. West Tigers belongs to West Tigers fans, and for far too long the fans have been ignored. Their voices have not been listened to, and that's how we've got to this point, and that's why this has to be the catalyst for us taking action. That's why we need every single West Tigers fan out there in their colours this Saturday at the rally at Pratton Park at 10:30, because if we don't take action now and send a message that this has to stop, that there has to be intervention, then we're going to turn around in a couple of years' time and realise that our team has been lost for good.
Yeah, this is our team that they're supposed to be custodians for, that they're supposed to better our club. They're supposed to provide us with a club that we can go and cheer for and be proud of. And at the moment, I'll be really honest with you, it's an embarrassment to be a West Tigers fan with us in the news for all this garbage year after year. It's time for change at our club.
It's a horrible feeling knowing that other supporters are laughing at us. And it's not the fault of any of the fans. And it would be easy after so much heartache and 15 years of failure, 3 wooden spoons and now this retrograde step, be easy to give up. But we can't do that. We've got to do the opposite. We've got to say, no, we're going to draw a line in the sand. This is the point that we take back control and ownership of our team. And we have to demand that if the Holman Barnes board won't do the right thing and resign, then the New South Wales government and the NRL must step in. And there's all the justification in the world for that.
I think it's worth noting, out in the socials and talking to members and fans, I think the penny has dropped. I think people realise it's not the West Tigers anymore that's the embarrassment. People used to say West Tigers are a basket case, the West Tigers organisation is hopeless, that sort of thing, the football team's useless. I think finally people understand that what's happening within the 4 walls of the club is outstanding up until today. It's been brilliant. The improvements that you outlined at the beginning of the pod, Darcy, are there for all to see. And I think people now realise that it's not the club, it's the governance that sits above the club, that the meddling and the interference that is absolutely ruining the opportunity for the West Tigers Football Club to become the absolute best. And you also mentioned, that we've got to take action, and we do need to direct that at the NRL, don't we? Because they're the ones that have the opportunity to instigate the change. The Holman Barnes Group aren't going to do it. We know that. But the NRL can. And therefore, on Saturday, that needs to be a priority, that we are getting a message to the NRL that we want administrator in there straight away, yeah?
Yeah, and we got Peter V'landys in there running the NRL, probably the most successful sports administrator in Australia, maybe in Australian history, a very smart man who's said on the record this week that he'll be acting in the interests of West Tigers fans, that he'll be acting to protect West Tigers as a franchise. And there's only one way to do that. That's to go in and ensure that there are independent directors who are running West Tigers. I'd be perfectly happy with the 4 people who've just been improperly removed to be reinstated if they wanted to take those positions back. But I have absolute confidence that if Peter V'landys decides that this problem has to be fixed, that he can make it happen.
And I do have a message for the NRL today. You have let us down by letting Shane Richardson leave our club. We needed that strength and someone of that experience to guide our club back from where it's been for the last 15 years. It is time for the NRL to step in and help our club, to stand up for our supporters, because our supporters have had enough and we can't do it by ourselves. We need your help. So the NRL needs to step in, appoint an administrator to the West Tigers and give us a club that our fan base, which is a huge fan base, you have a look, we're, off the back of 3 wooden spoons, we're selling out Leichhardt Oval, we're selling out Campbelltown. Give these people a team to support and a team to cheer for, because there's a lot more of us there than are showing up at the moment. So give us a team.
And look at all the children and young people. Anyone under 30 who follows the West Tigers has never supported Balmain or West Magpies. They are West Tigers fans, lifelong West Tigers fans. And if you think about the period that they've watched, if they weren't around in 2005 or weren't old enough to remember it, they've been through a lot of heartache, but still so many thousands of them are passionate fans of our club. So many people have stayed staunch through all the difficulties. It's amazing how big the fan base is, given how little success that we've had. Those people that's the lifeblood of rugby league, and that's why we need the NRL to do the right thing.
And the NRL gave North Sydney Bears fans their club back. This is an opportunity to save our club. We don't want to lose ours. We don't want to spend 20 years in the wilderness without a team to follow. Now's the time the NRL needs to stand up for us.
And the New South Wales government as well. By any measure, I know you guys have already discussed this at length, but just look at the last 12 months. The board of Holman Barnes have removed 8 directors.
8 directors.
8 directors, 2 chairs.
3 chairs.
3 chairs. And now 2 CEOs.
Correct.
That is the definition of dysfunction. And the Holman Barnes Group has governance of huge assets that belong to the club's members. Quite obviously, when you've got that level of dysfunction, there can't be proper governance occurring, looking after those assets. And in fact, when we look at the expenditure that's taken place, including, it hasn't been disclosed just what the legal expenses have been for the legal challenge against their removal of their own board members. I mean, put it this way, if I did that on the council and said, I don't like these councillors, I'm going to remove them, and then I'm going to spend $1 million or more of, I don't know the figure, of ratepayers' money on defending that at court, I'd be out the door straight away.
But Darcy, even if all these decisions to remove 8 directors are justified, the fact that they've had to remove 8 directors in an 18-month period shows dysfunction in itself without there being people being wrongly removed.
And that's why you have a regulator. Liquor and Gaming New South Wales are the regulator of clubs. It's their job to monitor what's going on in organisations such as Holman Barnes. They were investigating the organisation only a few months ago and should have taken action then. But they can now see just how bad the situation is. It's their statutory obligation and, of course, their ethical obligation as well to step in. And that's why I've written to Minister David Harris yesterday, outlining the current situation. I'm sure he's familiar with it. He's a very good person, David Harris. He's in the same boat as Peter V'landys. These are people who have the power to step in and make this situation right. And it's time for all West Tigers fans to step up and exert all the pressure we can to make it happen.
Yeah, so just something there for the West Tigers fans, like it'd be easy to just, find a corner and crumble into a heap at the moment. We're all feeling amazingly dejected. But I think the message that Darcy is giving us at the moment in such a powerful way is something that we really need to take on board. Now is not the time, West Tigers fans, to give up the fight. Now is not the time to feel sorry for our situation. We're in a bad situation. It could become perilous if we do not stick together and act. We need to stay together. We need to be proactive. We need to get out there at the rally on Saturday. We need to continue to lobby the NRL. We need to send those emails to all those email addresses that we've given out on all the social media. And we need to continue to ask Peter V'landys and Abdo to bring in an administrator to clean up this mess. They must act. We cannot allow Holman Barnes Group to continue to act in the reckless fashion that they're governing our club. West Tigers fans, I'm hurting. Darcy's hurting. Gary's hurting. We're all hurting. But we've got to keep going, and we've got to keep going as strongly as possible to stop this rot.
And while you were just speaking, Steve, the club has announced Shane Richardson has stepped down from his role as CEO.
So just what I said times 10.
The rally on Saturday, Darcy, do you want to tell us a little bit? You've done a great job getting this organised for us. You're really quick onto it. Tell us a little bit about what's happening on Saturday.
Well, we're gathering at Pratton Park, which is, of course, one of the most famous former West Magpies home grounds. And we're calling on West Tigers fans of all kinds to come in their West Tigers gear.
West Tigers gear is really important.
Not in their Balmain Tigers gear, not in their West Magpies gear. We're all West Tigers fans. And we're organising this at very short notice, but the situation is so dire. And none of us could have anticipated that this drastic and damaging action would be taken just as the off-season began. And so we needed to call this Snap Rally. And we need all of the listeners to your program, not just to come themselves, but bring their families, bring their friends, text and message, or share the event online, text and message all of the other Tigers fans that they know and say, this is our time that we have to step up to save our club.
What about a message to all those rugby league fans and Bulldog supporters and Rabbitohs supporters and all those guys? We'd like them there too, eh?
I've had a few people contact me this week to say that they remember how Tigers fans marched for South to get them back in the league. All rugby league fans are welcome, and everybody knows that the NRL will be stronger if there's a successful West Tigers franchise. We're a lot of people's second favourite team. No one wants to see us expelled from the league, but that's what's going to end up happening if we don't act now and fix this situation.
Phil Gould has said that. He said the Tigers are his second favourite team. Maybe we'll see Phil out there on Saturday.
I'm not inviting Gus.
Darcy, as I said a moment ago, thank you for what you're doing for our club. I know at times you get a bit of a few arrows about your support for the West Tigers, so thank you for this effort and getting this rally organised for us.
No, thank you guys for your advocacy. I've been, as you know, a long-term listener. I think what you're doing to bring West Tigers fans together in a positive way has been awesome. And the fact that you're now having to dig deep and get the message out about taking action to save the club, well, that's just as important as well.
10:30 Saturday morning out at Pratton Park. Get out there in your West Tigers gear. We need your support. Your club needs your support. It's time to act.